soaring to the sky on your own Griffin? Now that's a giant, but is it gentle? And how the heck did it get that big? And why is it so erratic? GoodGuysFree here with some answers. Yeah, some. It's another one of NoMansSky's giant topics that can't be completely covered in a short video. And there are parts of this that are actually not known completely. First, let's get the Griffin thing out of the way. If you really want one, I might be able to help you get one, but that's towards the end of the video. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. I'm going to talk about companions in general a little bit before we dive into the egg sequencer, so feel free to use the chapters to skip. You all know that there are two types of companion: normal fauna that eats creature pellets and synthetic fauna that consumes ion batteries. I haven't seen a hostile synthetic before, but in general when a hostile creature approaches, you have a chance to confuse it with food. Is this a good example for children? He's angry, so give him something to eat? Probably not, but in this universe it works. Your companion register is accessible from the quick menu and has 2 slots already open. The rest of the register has 16 more slots for 18 total, and the next slots cost nanites to open: 500, 1000, 5000, 10,000, and then 20,000 for each additional slot. The register is important because it tells you things about your companions which you need to know in order to decide how to modify their eggs in the egg sequencer. The first and foremost thing you need to know is native climate, because this companion will not be able to produce an egg when not in its native climate. The next thing to look at is the height and weight. If you want a bigger or smaller companion, this is the starting point. And then there are the traits. Before I continue, I must give a huge credit to Craig Mark of NoMansSky Resources. I feel I'm almost reciting some of what he wrote because it's so good. You should check out his website and follow him on X. His work for the community is absolutely priceless. Your companions have 3 stats or traits. Utility is a trait that goes on a scale from helpful to playful. A companion that is very low on this scale will be listed as playful, whereas a companion with a high utility trait will show as helpful. A helpful companion can do useful things like mine resources with the right accessory. A totally playful companion will not help you in any way. Attention is a trait that controls how devoted or independent a companion is. If this trait is high, the companion will be more devoted and require more attention from you. They will also keep themselves closer at all times. On the other side of the scale is a companion who's independent, will go farther from you, and will not require attention from you. Assertion determines if the companion is gentle or aggressive. More aggressive companions will actively hunt other animals to feed themselves, and tend to require a little more attention too. More gentle companions will more often engage in the more useful actions. For more details, please see NoMansSky Resources, links in the description. Just to complete the picture, companions can engage in one of the following actions, depending on their traits and equipping of the appropriate accessories, which can be unlocked with Quicksilver in the anomaly. Scanning resources, hazard marking, illumination with lights, attacks on predators, harmful plants and sentinels, finding structures, unearthing treasures, extraction of resources, feces production, predatory behavior to self-feed, and conversation. To produce an egg, the companion has to be at least 24 hours old and be in its native climate. After inducing an egg, many companions will become hungry, so interact again and feed them. Feeding your pet every day for about a week increases their trust level with you, which increases their response to commands, etc. The egg sequencer is located in the anomaly next to Kronos. It has several things written on it and around it. On the sequencer body is a label saying Corvette 2000. On the floor is a nice play on words. This one says, "Treat your egg to a fresh pair of jeans," the genetic ones of course. The writings on this sphere are the same, Corvette 2000 and Treat your egg, etc. When you interact with the egg sequencer, you see this screen. The screen on the top right says off until you add some components, and then it says egg. There is a place for an egg and 4 additional slots. These slots control the 4 stages of the gene manipulation done by the sequencer. Each stage controls a different aspect, with the first one, growth hormone, controlling the size and weight. The second one is by far the least understood. The gene splitter supposedly controls things like adding or removing limbs, shape, etc. It is also bugged since, like forever, no matter what you place in it, it will say the result is unstable, which makes it super hard to learn how it affects the results. The third one, also bugged, also says unstable on anything you put in it, controls coloring. This, however, we understand well, and I'll explain them in a minute. The last one, neural calibrator, affects the 3 traits, depending on what you place in it. You can see a name of a characteristic and whether it is increased, reduced, or inherited, i.e. no change. Basically, you can put just about anything in each of the slots, and each item has a different way to calculate its level of effect. For example, plain carbon for growth has a stack rate requiring 416 carbon for maximum effect, or 0.24% effect per 1 unit of carbon. In contrast, ionized cobalt has a rate of 7.69% effect on growth per unit of ionized cobalt, requiring only 13 units to reach maximum effect. Other slots may have different effect rates for the same materials. Before we take a closer look, you should know that you can use the sequencer multiple times on the same egg, affecting it again and again until you maximize the effect you are going for and then hatch it. There is no need to actually hatch multiple generations of companions. Okay, let's look at these in a little bit more depth. Basically, various materials you put here can affect the size of the companion that will hatch. Some materials increase the size and some decrease. Or you can leave empty if you don't want to change. You can experiment with different materials, but here are a couple of increasing and a couple of decreasing. For a more complete list, see NoMansSkyResources.com, specific link in the description. But let's see how this works. I have here 2 eggs that were produced by the same companion. We'll sequence one to increase size and not change anything else, and the other to decrease size. Place the egg, add material to the first slot. See, it says 100%. Now we press begin and wait. Same thing with the other egg. But this time we use a different material and begin. Now let's hatch these eggs. You can see the difference quite nicely. This one is an enigma. We don't really know what each material does. You can experiment, and sometimes the results are very hard to discern. It could be an extra skin bump or a tiny speck of different color on the companion's hide. We do know it is supposed to affect the anatomy of the companion, but not the specific effects of each material. No matter what you put in there, it will say unstable and not tell you what the result is. This one is similar in the fact that it is bugged like the gene splitter. Anything you place in this slot will say unstable. However, NoMansSkyResources.com has an extensive set of info pages with examples of materials and their effect on companion collars. Link in the description, of course. This is super useful because you can see the egg sequencer with the material and the color representation that this material will create with the creature. As a general rule, the background color of the image of a material is the main color that will be the main color affecting the companion in the egg. However, the dye injector, depending on the material used, can affect 1, 2, or even 3 color categories on the companion. Now in the game, you will just see this, unstable. But if you go to NoMansSkyResources.com, you can see these modified images where the colors found by Craig Mark, who runs the site, and others have been added on top for our benefit. Let's do the same thing we did with size, only change colors. First egg, we place this material in the dye injector and press begin. Next one, we place this one in the dye injector instead, and we begin. Now let's hatch these eggs. You can see the difference quite nicely. Finally, the neural calibrator. In general, each time you use the neural calibrator, you affect only one of the 3 traits. The neural calibrator will show you what your material is going to do, and the thing you're going to see depends on the current egg's stats in the specific trait that the material inserted affects. Think of the condition of the current egg's stats as 3 sliders. If a companion egg is very gentle as opposed to aggressive, and you use pugnium, which increases aggressiveness, you will see gentleness decreased again and again, until the slider reaches the middle point, and from there on, you will see aggressiveness increased. If you go to Craig Mark's No Man's Sky Resources website, link in the description of course, you can find images similar to this. The website shows for each material what it does, and in this case they edited the screenshot to show both what is decreased and what is increased. I've been asked a lot about those Griffin, Eagle, Dragon companions, so here's the promised explanation. These companions are the results of modding. Since I said result, you don't need a mod to use them. The mod only made it possible for someone to adopt one of these creatures as a companion, which the game does not normally allow. That someone started handing out eggs, and that's how I got them. At least one egg I received from Ricey. You can see all about it in this video on your screen. That's it. If you want an egg, DM me on Discord or X and I'll try to help you. Please be aware that I'm helping many others, so be patient. I want to help everyone, and it's a bit hard. GoodGuysFree here, and I'll see you again soon.